Welcome to the Hustle Skirt Podcast, the show that brings you economic equity for everyone, every day, with your host, Debra Gould. Yes, I am Debra Washington Gould, President and CEO of Debra Gould and Associate Inc. DGAI is a management consulting and performance management business founded in 1996 and based in New Orleans, Louisiana. Please visit DGAI website at www.gouldassociates.com, where you can learn more information about my company professional service offerings in management consulting, keynote presentation, training, facilitating, executive coaching, surveys, and assessment. Now, today, you're here to hear about the Hustle Skirt Podcast. The one thing I would like to request that you do is to visit the website, www.persistencelane.com. All one word, persistencelane.com. Here you will learn more about the mission of the Hustle Skirt Podcast is to promote, communicate, and amplify the influence of men and women entrepreneurs for profit businesses or a C-suite or a higher executive with a corporation or nonprofit organization. That's the mission and purpose of the Hustle Skirt Podcast. The meaning of the Hustle Skirt Podcast, with good intentions, is sincerely is about positive, in a positive way, that you see yourself in your career path or as an entrepreneur. So let me just play with you a little bit and give you some examples of what I mean when I say in a positive way. Never give up. Don't take no for an answer. Believe in yourself. Be focused, be encouraged, be bold, be encouraging to others. Become, being, and be the best you. You can't be what you don't see. I hope you agree with that. For God's sakes, as an entrepreneur, you want to be prosperous. And for all those naysayers, if I can say this part as we move on, to all the people that says you can't, from now on, tell them, watch me do my thing in my career. Watch me as a successful entrepreneur, make it work. And you heard it from Debra Washington Gould. So with that being said, here are my big ideas about the Hustle Skirt. My tenacious desire is greater than my fears. Do what you imagine possible. Do the hard things. That's the journey of the entrepreneur. There are no limits to what you can do and capable in doing. So when I invite guests to the Hustle Skirt, they're going to tell their story. They're going to show you and I what it takes to be empowered, to inspire others, and motivate themselves to survive and thrive in this world that we call entrepreneurship. So I want to say to my guest today, she is Dr. Gail Thomas is my guest today. And as I shared Gail Thomas' credentials, I would like to say that in the last couple of years where I've had the privilege to get to know Gail, you are going to be very impressed with the services of Precise Education Consulting, LLC. But let me give her due props because she's worthy of her success. And with that being said, my guest today, and I want to welcome you, Gail, to be here on the Hustle Skirt Podcast. So to my audience, I hope that both Gail and I are natives of New Orleans. And so her services is nationwide. And both Gail and I will make sure we put great emphasis on her contact information today. With that being said, Dr. Gail Thomas is the founder and CEO of Precise Education Consulting, LLC. Born and raised in New Orleans, she has over 30 years of firsthand experience with the changing landscape of the education system. Well, I would like to say further that being on the front line, she has had the opportunity to serve in various capacities that directly impact all students, particularly those students with special needs. Thank you, Gail, for your talents and gifts and your focus on the special needs of our kids. She received a Bachelor of Science degree from Xavier University of Louisiana, master's degree from Southeastern University, and a doctorate from Grambling State University. She is a member of several national education organizations and has held leadership roles in many. She is a proud Delta Sigma Theta Inc. member and enjoy her community involvement. Hello, DST. Thank you, Gail, for the value of your time to be here today with the founder and host of the Hustle Skirt. So, giving up your precious time to do this interview, you know I'm going to come correct, and I'm going to ask a couple of questions to you, maybe a general, a specific, and a fun question. But before we get started, with your permission, Gills, I just shared your remarkable credentials. I want folks to know, as we go through this in real time, that there will be other opportunities to hear more about your services. With your permission, I would like to repeat again, the company name is Precise Education Consulting, LLC. The business address is SUNO, that's Southern University at New Orleans, 6803 Press Drive, Suite 171, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70126. Telephone number 504 is the area code, 233-8918. The email address, all one word, Dr. Gail Thomas at Precise Education Consulting. The main thing I want you to do is to really hear this website with all of her contact information, preciseeducationconsulting.com, all one word. I'm going to ask Dr. Gail Thomas to, as I ask the questions, and you will have a moment to highlight your services. I want you to repeat that as many times as you care to in the time that we're here today on the Hustle Skirt, because I'm all about empowerment. And I believe truly in abundance mentality, not scarcity mentality. There's enough in the universe as entrepreneurs that we can reach back and support each other in the business community. So right. That's another purpose of Hustle Skirt. With that being said, Gail, are you ready for Debra questions that will give our audience a chance to be more engaged and just keep checking you out, whether it's YouTube, whether it's on social media, or visiting the website. And that website, again, that I want them to go to, so it's going to always be there about Gail. That's www.persistencelane.com. So here we go, Gail. Do you want to say a quick shout out to the audience that will be listening to this wonderful interview and your comments as I present these questions? Is there anything you would like to say?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me on. I am really appreciative of this opportunity to share my business and to speak to all the educators and everybody else that's the professionals that joins this particular podcast.
Well, I am grateful for those teachers and leaders in the education industry that really put the thoughts, the passion, and the hope and desire in our young people to be our future leaders. So without educators like you who have a determination and dedication in this industry, thank you, Gail, for showing up every day. So here we go, Madam. So this is a general question for our audience. How did you become interested in the area of special education?
Well, as mentioned, I started at Xavier University. I majored in elementary education and had the opportunity to do many observations and student teaching throughout my 4 years there. And as I did various observations, I worked in the regular traditional classroom as well as in a classroom where there was a special education setting. I noticed that in the special education setting, I became more and more in tune to that because it reached me very deeply. And I believe that I discovered, okay, this is my purpose as an educator to meet with this population and help them to be the absolute best that they can be.
Thank you, Gail. That was powerful. So I want you just to take maybe 10, 20 seconds, because I know parents that's going to hear this and said, well, how do I reach Gail? How do I get to know more about Dr. Thomas' service? So you take this moment to share that website again. And if there's another contact, your email and telephone number.
Okay, well, the website is preciseeducationconsulting.com. At that particular site, you will have an opportunity to see the various services that's offered and an opportunity to schedule a not an interview, but schedule a meeting, I'm sorry, with me. And the first meeting, of course, is free, and we get to learn everything about what it is your needs are, or your child's needs are, or your business needs are. And from there, we develop a plan in order to implement.
See, I'm glad I asked you to pause before I go to my next question to share that, because you gave us some more insight, not only the website, but what they will find when they go to that website to start that relationship, to establish that relationship, to find out what the special needs are. So thank you for doing that. So my next question for you, within your journey, what triumph have you experienced with your students and clients?
Some triumphs includes when you're working with a particular group of kids. I love the idea that you develop a strong relationship because you meet with those kids daily. And in that, they begin to trust you and believe in you because you're working specifically on their tailor-made academics. Each child has his or her own goals and objectives as it relates to where they are in their journey. And just to see them light up when you make any gain is absolutely powerful. It becomes more powerful if you have the parent that's involved as well. Then that child has a complete wraparound at school and at home and working together to see the success of that particular student's abilities is absolutely overwhelming. It's wonderful. And then for those children who go on to high school as they move on, I love working with the transition plan because we're preparing them for their life as they matriculate.
All right. Trust and just watching them light up when they learn something, and then the transition when they leave from where they first met you and on the journey to watch them go to that next giant leap.
Yes.
Thank you for being that contributor, that challenger, and more importantly, your commitment to your education industry.
Yes.
I can just see and hear your passion, Gail. One more question for you. What do you enjoy doing when you are not engaged with clients?
Well, I enjoy just plain relaxing on my patio, listening to jazz music. Also, I enjoy traveling, and I most specifically enjoy my new grandson, one and only. He's 2.5, and he keeps me busy. And that's the joys of my life.
Well, that's that terrible two stage,
Oh my goodness, yes,
but
it is.
there's nothing like
Nothing like it.
grandparents, nothing like grandparenting.
That's it.
You can always send them back to their parents, and we get to spoil them.
That's correct. That's correct.
So your legacy is 2.5. All
Yes.
right, all right. So Gil, You have done marvelously in answering all three of the founder and host questions on our Hustle Skirt podcast. I'd like to just have you take maybe 30 seconds or under a minute, just a mindful moment in terms of what would you like this audience to know about your services that we have not discussed in the three specific questions that I shared with our audience. Is there anything more? Are there any projects or events or something you're doing in the community to reach those potential clients? What would you like to say more about Precise
More
Education
about,
Consulting?
yes, more about Precise. In addition to working with schools and helping the special education department, I also work with new special ed teachers in mentoring them through their process in the very beginning. Additionally, I work with the school with professional development. Precise Education is also extended through other administrations, as in hospitals, where children are there in the hospital for a long period of time. Children's Hospital is what I'm trying to say. And they need education, especially if they have long stays. I'm instrumental in that particular thing as well. So basically, that's what happens with Precise, and I'm just always here.
Well, I'm glad that I asked that question because I think our audience got to hear a little more about your involvement in the community with folks who are students that have a long period, maybe at Children's Hospital, how your services extend to opportunities like that. Wonderful. So we're going to close out at this particular time. And I'd just like to have my audience to know that, again, the Hustle Skirt podcast objective is to empower you, individuals like Dr. Gail Thomas, Precise Education Consulting, LLC, to speak power, embrace change in your own vision, mission, and purpose, and get fired up with your passion. To my audience, didn't you see that from Gail, that glow when she just talked about the students? But I do want you to do one thing so that you'll go back, not just in this moment, to go back to hear more about Dr. Gail Thomas. Make sure to visit our website, www.persistencelane.com, where you can subscribe to the Hustle Skirt, and you will have a chance to check Dr. Gail Thomas out on 9 different platforms: Apple's, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Amazon Music, Podchaser, iTunes, Podbean, social media from LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. You can also watch this interview there. It'll be on my YouTube and always on Persistence Lane website. So with that being said, while you edit, if you've enjoyed this interview with Dr. Gail Thomas and your host, Debra Gould, I would like to have you to, we would appreciate that you go to iTunes, or if you just happen to watch this interview on YouTube or LinkedIn, tell a friend to go check it out and hear about the services of Precise Education Consulting, LLC. Would you do that for Debra as well as Dr. Gail Thomas today? So on that note, you're listening to the Hustle Skirt Podcast, the show that brings you economic equity for everyone, every day, with your host, Debra Gould. I'd like to say once again to Dr. Gail Thomas, thank you for the privilege and value of your time today. Until I meet again with you, Gail, in the business community or other places that we stay or share the same space with to be of service to our community, until we meet again, make yourself a great week on purpose, Gail. And I've certainly enjoyed this interview and our time today. I hope that you've had the opportunity to let others know the powerful work that you're doing in our community. I love you, Gail. Take care until we meet again.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.